I don't even know where to begin. So this is not rehearsed. I don't have any notes. You're going to be hearing my honest impressions as a person who's been using Ventrac equipment for nearly 20 years, having multiple tractors in that time. I still currently have two. I had a 4500Z. Sitting here with the door open, all the traffic that goes by, everybody's going to wave to me. They can see me sitting in here, so I apologize for any interruptions. But I don't want to be that guy that gets so caught up in doing something else that I can't even take the brief moment to acknowledge people being friendly. So, using this brand for nearly 20 years, my original tractor over here, which I think you can see at the edge of the screen, it's a 4227. That thing has, a couple thousand, few thousand hours on it. Still runs amazing. I love that machine. Then I got a 4500Z, bought that new special order from the factory in 2016. I had those two tractors. We used them in northern Maine. Absolutely fantastic pair. Then the 4520s came out, and I was convinced that I needed the new 4520N with the fuel injection. So that, by the way, is what the 45RC comes with, is my understanding. It comes standard with the 3-cylinder gas Kubota fuel injected engine. And overall, this engine has been phenomenal. It's been amazing. My thoughts now on the radio control aspect. Now, I come from a pretty interesting background, and I've had my pilot's license through the Academy of Model Aeronautics going back probably over 30 years. And I've been flying RC planes since I was old enough to hold a transmitter. That's my dad. That was his fault, that was his doing. So a little bit about his background is he is an engineer in aerospace and electromechanical. And I grew up with that. So I grew up with, rockets and airplanes and all of those awesome things that I just really came to really love and appreciate. So now that Ventrac has an RC option, a couple things off the top of my head. I think it's awesome to be able to have that capability. One thing that I will say is that anytime that you switch from actual sitting on the seat as an operator to standing back and taking control at a distance remotely, there is an element of situational awareness that you will not have. Yes, there's a camera on the roll bar. I don't know the particulars of that. So it looks out over the seat out the front. I don't know if there are side cameras or rear cameras, so you can just see forward. I do know that Ventrac is saying that you do have to be within eyesight of the machine. You can't operate it blindly. I don't know why you would want to unless you have full situational awareness. I've actually seen systems where you can put on a headset, like a 3D virtual reality headset, and you can actually turn and pan your head around. And I've done experimentations with this type of technology as well, and pretty neat stuff. So now you have a little more situational awareness where you can look around. I don't think that's an option on this system. From what was described about the camera itself is I think there's just one looking out over the front. That's helpful, but it doesn't tell you at all about what's going on your left, your right, behind. And as any good operator will tell you, when you're on the seat, your situational awareness needs to include all of your senses simultaneously. So that includes, visually, and that also includes depth of field. So you have depth perception, which you don't have with this camera. You can't feel if there's anything going on. I don't believe that there's going to be any audio pickup on that. I don't know. But the more of the senses, the more of the things that you can absorb as you're operating the equipment, the better. So on the seat, absolutely ideal. They did mention honestly that there would be less productivity using the remote control feature, which I absolutely believe. And this jokingly has me likening this to probably the very government, the very government institutions that would find this type of equipment useful. The ones where OSHA's saying, "Oh no, you can't go on that hill; it's too steep, it's too dangerous. You're going to have to use a remote control option." These are the very entities that don't need to be efficient at anything. Just saying. Or guys like me would say, yeah, that's the very type of situation that I would have the most fun on 30-degree slopes with this equipment, sitting on the seat. It never gets old. It's still exhilarating no matter how often you run this equipment in those situations. It is super fun. I think for those of us, even if we had the money, which is another topic of discussion, I believe they said that the cost would be $62,000, which is roughly about twice the cost of a 4520N base model. That's a lot of money. So, for an extra 30 grand, can you justify the remote control option? So, for the little guys like me, yeah, it's really cool. I think it would be more of a novelty. It'd be awesome. Absolutely, it would be awesome. It really would. But you lose a lot when you're operating remotely. And if you're really picky and you're really precise like me, no matter what type of work I'm performing with this equipment, I am just, down to the millimeter, literally, on a lot of the things that I do. I had someone ask, well, can you grind stumps with it? I mean, I don't see why not. They already have machines that you can operate remotely, but those machines, to be objective, were never meant to be sat on and operated on the seat in the first place. You either stand off to the side and operate the controls, you got the shield there, so there's already an element of operating them off to the side, as it were, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. One thing that I will add is that I'm friends with the owners of two of the largest dealers in the country, and we communicate on a regular basis, and I've already heard a little bit on their thoughts of this new machine. It's going to be a very niche product, and Ventrac is niche already. So this is going to much further restrict the pool of potential customers that this is intended. But the cool factor is definitely there. I think it's pretty awesome. Why do we have so much traffic this morning? I'm just going for 11 o'clock. Which, by the way, I know that a few of you had asked about Susie. For those that don't know, she broke her leg at one of Connor's baseball games, of all things. She wasn't even here, and had a pretty bad fracture. So just last night, she finally had the surgery, had some plates and rods and screws, titanium stuff that she had inserted. So this is her first morning after, of recovery. And so I just wanted to put that out there for you guys that were asking. That is the reason that I wasn't at the expo that's happening right now. I would have loved to have visited the Ventrac booth and kind of picked Aaron's brain a little bit one-on-one, got that on camera. I saw that Cameron Duncan had posted a video about this. Super cool, by the way. I'm glad that you were able to go. And I wish that I could be there. And I know that there would have been a lot of people that would have appreciated being able to meet me. And I guess they're doing actual on-hand testing, like hands-on testing on this thing. I think they're actually driving around, let people test it out. But because I'm friends with two of the largest dealers in the country, the owners, that would be Jim Hutchins and Barry Fry, I do plan on absolutely making a first impressions video of an actual hands-on demonstration. So I will get my hands on one of these. I will play around with it. I will let you know my actual thoughts on this. But back to my Academy of Model Aeronautics pilot's license, I'm a pretty awesome pilot. And that's a lot different than operating a ground machine. When you're operating something in the air, there's a lot more that can go wrong. And and I was always a very accomplished pilot. Compared to most, I'll say that. There's certainly a lot of people that are more talented than me, but I was always a pretty decent pilot, and I really enjoyed, piloting remotely. Just super fun, lots of fun there. Ground vehicles is still fun, but it's just not the same. Not the same at all. You're only operating on 2 dimensions, following the contours of the ground. In the air, you have complete freedom in all 3 dimensions, and a heck of a lot more can go wrong up there, I'll say that. So those are my overall first impressions. The cost is expensive, but for certain situations, especially ones that are regulated by OSHA, certain entities will have no choice other than to use a remotely controlled machine. So Ventrac has stepped into this market, and it's a really big step. And they're moving into a completely specialized market that there is absolutely a demand for, but it is extremely specialized. What else can I say on that topic? I would say, if there are any particular aspects of this that you want me to give my opinions on, leave those comments down below. I will read them, and I'll find the most popular questions, and I'll cover those topics, especially considering that I will be hands-on with one of these machines in the very near future. So I know that you all are going to have certain questions about what particular things you want me to focus on when I actually get my hands on one of these RCs for the first time. So I think I'll leave it with that. I'm not sure what else to say. I know you guys got questions, and I'll answer as many of them as I can.